Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel Gateway to IT. As discussed in the previous video, we are now going to install the pfSense firewall and do some initial configuration on it. The pfSense firewall can be downloaded by searching on the internet, or I'll provide you the link in the description. We will be using this pfSense firewall for connectivity, routing, DHCP services for our VMware vSphere infrastructure. So let's get started. I'm going to create a pfSense VM. Select new virtual machine. Click on next. I'm going to select the latest hardware compatibility from here. Click on next. Click on I'll install the operating system later. And from here you need to select the because this pfSense firewall is a FreeBSD based uh, operating system based appliance. So we need to select the FreeBSD version 10 or earlier and then click on next. Once we do that, we can give it a name. So I'm giving it a name as pfSense, and I'm also providing a location on my hard drive where I want this pfSense firewall to create its related files like virtual disk and other configuration files. So let's keep the uh, number of processor to the default for the time being. We can give it the amount of RAM as 1 GB. Click on next. We can keep it on the default for the time being. Later on, we will go and make the configure change to the network type. Click on next. Click on next. Click on next on the create virtual disk, and then you can give it a virtual disk size. So let's keep it 50 GB. I'm selecting store virtual disk as a single file. Click on next and then click on next and then click on finish. So once you're done, your pfSense firewall is ready. Now we need to make sure that we select the initially, as per the plan, we are going to select only two networks. Uh, One is the network using which our firewall will take our infrastructure to the internet. So for the first network adapter, I'm selecting the bridge network. The bridge network, when we make this selection, it actually takes an IP address from your home router if you are running it on a workstation like me. So it takes an IP address from your local network, and that becomes your internet IP address for this. And we then need to click on add to add another network card. Once we click on network adapter, we can go ahead and select LAN segment. And the second network that I'm going to provide is the management network on which we are going to have our entire infrastructure like this. Let me refer back to the graphic that I shared earlier. So here is the pfSense firewall. Here is the pfSense firewall that we are installing right now. So for the time being, we are only creating two network. One is the bridge network that will connect us to the internet, and the second is the management network that on which we will be having our all four E6i servers along with the domain controller. So let me pause it, and once we start the installation, I'll be back. So now as we have made the network adjustment, we need to now provide it the ISO of the pfSense that I downloaded from the internet. So I'm going to my drive where I have kept the ISO, and I have kept it in firewall. And the latest version for the pfSense firewall is CE 2.6.0 as as per now. So let me click on open and then click on OK. Once we have provided the ISO, we can click on power on the virtual machine and then follow the prompts on the screen. As soon as you're on the screen, you can click on enter. Yeah. Once you click on enter, it starts installing the firewall. So let's wait for a minute till the time it asks us for some configuration changes. The installation of pfSense firewall is pretty straightforward. when you prompt it, just select accept on this ELR screen. Make sure the install pfSense is selected and then click on hit on enter. OK. Click on default key map. Click on default. Click with the default. Click OK again, and then here it asks you to select the drive. So in order to select it, hit the space bar, and you see then that an asterisk appears on the selected drive because we have a single drive, so it should not be difficult for us. So once we have made the selection, click on OK, and it gives us a warning that all the data on the drive will be destroyed. On the selected drive will be destroyed, so we are okay with it. Hit enter, and it starts the installation process. So let's wait for the installation process to finish. It's a pretty small installation, so it should not take long. Let me pause the video for the time being. So as we can see that the installation is finished now, and it is asking us um, that before you exit the installation, would you like to open the shell in the new system to make any final manual modification? So we just select, we just have the default selection already done. We just need to hit the enter, and now it's asking for us to reboot. So let's go ahead and reboot it. So as now it is proceeding with the reboot, let me pause the video. So as you can see, the installation is complete, and now Uh, now we are on a screen where it is asking us to do some configuration. You can see by default it has got the IP address from our local router. The IP address it got is 192.168.0.128. This is on the WAN interface, so this is going to be our internet facing uh, IP address. And for the LAN interface, it has given an IP address of 192.168.1. With the 24-bit subnet mask. So that's what we need to change as per our plan. And we discussed that the IP address for our firewall is going to be 192.168.1.254. So let me make that change. So we click here, we go to the option 2, we type option 2 and select hit enter. Once we select hit enter, it asks us to select the available interface. So we need to press because we are going to make configuration change on LAN interface, so I'm choosing the option 2 again. So once I choose that, it asks me to provide the IP address. And the IP address that I'm going to provide is 192.168.1.254. Once I have provided the IP address, I need to hit enter again, and now it asks me to provide the subnet mask information. Uh, Subnet mask. So I type the number 24 and then hit enter. Once I hit enter, we need to again hit enter for none, and then enter for IPv6. We're not going to configure IPv6 address, so hit enter again. Once we hit IP, enter, it's asking us if we would like to configure the DHCP on the LAN interface. We'll be configuring the LAN interface from the GUI, so I'm choosing as no. So once we provide no, it gives us the IP address of the it gives us as URL using which we can configure the firewall from the GUI, which is this one. So as far as the installation of the pfSense firewall is concerned, we are done with the installation, and now we can access the GUI portion of the firewall using this URL. So let me pause the video and move to the workstation from where we will be accessing it again. So we are now back on the administration workstation from where we are going to administer the firewall. So let me type the URL that it provided us in the previous step. So I'm typing the URL. 254 is the IP address for a firewall. So we can see that now we are able to access the web interface of the pfSense firewall. The default username and password for the firewall is the username is admin, and the IP the password for this firewall is pfSense. You can see it. And once we provide the password and username, we can click on sign in. Let me pause it here so that we can configure the firewall in the next video. If you like our work, please subscribe to our channel and do share it with your colleagues. Thank you.